It was the worst day of Horrid Henry's life, like always. But this time, something inside him finally cracked like one of Peter's precious number gnomes after a well-aimed football. For years, the abuse had piled up higher than the laundry mountain Mom always made him carry up the stairs. At home, it never stopped. Mom screaming,
"Don't be horrid, Henry!"
every 5 seconds, even when he had said something as wholesome as morning to his brother. She'd sent him to bed without tea just for asking to get his questionnaire back. She told him flat out he'll never become a rock star. Dad was no better. They'd show zero concern for his terror over Razor Ron the barber, dragging him there anyway. They'd taken away his music, computer, and TV for a whole year just for not doing his homework. He'd lost his computer for 2 weeks, pocket money for 3 weeks, and TV for a whole month after accidentally throwing red goo at his mom while frantically searching the kitchen bin for a cockroach. He lost sweets for a month after eating them all in one go. But no one showed the slightest concern for whether his teeth were aching or rotting. And he lost TV for a week during Peter's boring recital, all because he repeated in total disbelief what Mom had said earlier,
"No gross class zero tonight, Henry."
only to have the punishment stretch far beyond the one evening it was meant to last. School was worse. Miss Battleaxe had told Henry he'd write,
"You will stay here at break time and write out these lists."
just for not raising his hand once. She slapped him with double detention just for saying the Boodle Poodles were weird. And then there was the endless torture from Mr. Sidmouth Soggington, better known to every kid at Ashton Primary as Soggy Sid. The man who once tried to send Henry to detention just for saying, "Thank you, kind sir." And the man who completely lost his mind when he realized Henry was innocent of a crime and wasn't going to jail. He threw the evidence on the ground and stomped on it in a furious rage. Henry had taken it all. The shouting, the one
"Don't be horrid, Henry!"
line that was ingrained in his head, the unfair punishments, the way everyone, parents, teachers, even his own brother, treated him like he was always the problem. Until that fateful Tuesday. Henry was lugging a huge metal bucket of water across the hall. His arm ached, his shoes squelched. He was muttering revenge fantasies when, crash! The bucket slipped. Water exploded everywhere. The entire contents landed with a perfect splosh right on Soggy Sid's shiny black shoe. For one frozen second, silence. Then Soggy Sid's face turned rotten tomato red. "You horrid boy! Detention! I'll be calling your parents." Henry stared at the wet shoe, at Soggy Sid's smug, dribby face, at the unfairness that had followed him like a bad smell since the day he was born. And something inside him snapped. "No!" Henry roared. "I've had enough!" Henry shouted, voice cracking with rage. "You sent me to detention because Miss Battleaxe's glasses broke when it was an accident. You gave me double detention just for saying the Boodle Poodles were weird. You made me swim until I nearly drowned. Miss Battleaxe gave me lines for breathing and made me write, 'I will raise my hand 100 times just for forgetting once.' You tried to detain me for saying, 'Thank you, kind sir,' and stomped on evidence when I was proven innocent. Mom grounded me for Peter's mess-ups. Dad took my pocket money for nothing. You all ignore me when I'm scared or hurt or missing for hours." He kicked the empty bucket so hard it clanged against the wall. "I'm not horrid! You're all horrid, and I'm not going to detention. Not today, not ever again." Soggy Sid's mouth opened and closed like a goldfish. "But rules! Detention! You horrid! Stop calling me horrid!" He reached for the fire alarm and pulled it. The bell screamed through the school. Doors flew open. Kids cheered. Henry stood in the chaos, water dripping from the ceiling, and let out a long, shaky breath. He hadn't meant to cause total mayhem. He just finally said it. All of it. Out loud. Within the hour, Henry was in the head's office. Soggy Sid, dripping and furious, gave his version. Miss Battleaxe added her complaints about disrespectful outbursts. The fire alarm pole sealed it. Triple detention. One for the water, one for refusing detention, one for the alarm. When Mom and Dad arrived, summoned by an urgent phone call, their faces were storms. They didn't ask why. They didn't listen to his side. They just saw the trouble and the headlines. Henry was grounded indefinitely. No computer, no TV, no pocket money, no friends over at all. Bedtime moved to 7 o'clock. Extra chores, and a lecture about being responsible that lasted longer than the grounding itself. Henry sat in his room that evening, staring at the wall. He hadn't become truly horrid. He just stood up for himself for once, and somehow that had cost him more than ever. But deep down, a tiny spark remained. He said it. They heard it. Even if they hadn't listened, maybe next time he'd find a smarter way. Because even after the triple detention and the monster grounding, Henry wasn't quite broken. Not yet.